Today's job in the workshop is making a full exhaust system for the Scrambler BMW. So what we've got here is we've got a box of all the bends. So we get lots of stainless steel bends, lots of all different angles, and then we can assemble it on the bike. What we'll do first is we'll mock it up with just tacking the bends together, cutting the right radius in the bends, tacking it all together, and then it will be taken off, all welded up, and then it will be smoothed off with a pipe polisher that I've got. So yeah, this is the start of it. We're not 100% certain where it's going to go, so we'll start putting it together, start tacking it up. It might take 3 or 4 attempts to get the right bends and the right angles to make it look correct, but we'll just see how we get on. We have the first headers sorted and the first angle and the first cuts. I'll just show you what we've got. So we're coming in at an angle just to bring it all in and make it a little bit narrower, and we'll match the bend on either side so you get 2 nice equal bends. We're then going to come across the head for this second pipe. It's going to come across, wrap around, and then they're both going to run parallel along to the back and then to 2 single mufflers on the back. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to jig up where this cut is going to be on the bend. This little thing is an absolute lifesaver when doing exhausts. Just a digital protractor. It's an absolute lifesaver. I can take the degrees off the pipes, so I will reference the pipe against the straight edge on the bike, and I can just jig it up on the bench and make sure it's straight. It's actually really quite difficult to cut a bend straight and square. I'll show you how you have to do it to cut the actual bend straight. It's very easy to cut it at an angle, and if you cut a bend at an angle, then you'll ovalize the actual hole and you'll never get a nice clean weld or a nice clean join. So you've got to cut it real square in the actual arc. So let me show you how I do that as well. So I'm in my dirty workshop. It's a bit cramped in here because I've got my project on the back of the bench, but there's enough room just to get on with what we're doing today. So what I've got here is I've got the first setup for the first cut. So let me just show you roughly what we've done and how we've got this. So everything when you're cutting and working with pipe, you work in a centre line radius. Basically what that is from a measurement point of view, you work from the very centre of the pipe. It obviously working from the centre, you get rid of different thicknesses in pipes, so it makes things a lot easier when you're working out what you're doing. So what I've got on the bench, and what I've just highlighted in pen so you can see it, or a Sharpie, is this 90 degrees is the centre line for this bend, which is a 90-degree bend. It doesn't matter about the thickness of the tube, but I've offset it so I can line the tube up with the bottom of the bench. And then what we've got here is the 90-degree bend and the centre point of the radius. So we know that this pipe is 38mm and it's a 2R radius. And what a 2R radius means is the bend is double the thickness of the tube. So if you've got a 38mm tube, that means that the bend is going to be a radius of this. It could be further out for 90 degree, but it makes things easier in the long run. So then what we've got here is the angle that we've worked out from what my bend wants to be. So we've got a 60.5 cut to make in the pipe. As you can see, the actual intersection with the pipe is not in the center point. So it's very, very easy when you're cutting pipe to think, I want a 119-degree bend. I'll set this up 119 degrees and then cut it anywhere along the curve. But if you don't cut it exactly in line with the bend, you'll get an off-center cut. So you'll get an elongated or an ovalized hole, and you'll never be able to weld it. It'll never make a nice bend. So you've got to cut it at the right intersection, at the right angle. So that's why I always jig them up on the bench first. I'll clamp this down, mark it up, and then I'll put it in my chop saw and cut it along the line. So now we've got this marked up on the bench, I'll clamp this down, mark it up, then we'll chop it and weld it. We've got the pipe back on the bike, just to check that we've got it in the right area, make sure it looks right and true. So I've dotted the line just so you can see it more clearly. So we've got the line, and then we can check it with the protractor. Just move the pipe. We can obviously check it on 90 degrees, and then we can check it against a edge on the bike that we know. So I've been using these frame rails as they are horizontal. So I can check it against them, make sure we're square, take it off and cut it. And there we go. A lovely bend, a lovely angle, and then a nice straight pipe for it to come out with in the centre. So we're happy with that. Now we'll start making the rest. We've got the first part of the top pipe now all finished. To show you what we've done, so we've got the kink round, we've got clearance along all these tubes and around the frame so we can get a fit of fingers behind it, which is a good gap clearance all the way around. I decided to match up the line on the BMW badge with the actual exhaust to the case. So it's got a slight downward sweep, which I think is going to look really good. If it doesn't look exactly what we want at the end, we can always adjust it. So at the minute, this is going to look brilliant, I think. We're now matching the second pipe up. So we've done the manifold, and then we're just matching the second pipe. So we're going for a gap between the two. There will be a heat shield around the leg area, so we need a gap for the heat shield to go in between on either. So we've got a nice gap for them both, and then we obviously need them to run. This one's going to run, I think, slightly out as well as not directly underneath it. So I'm going to run it slightly out forward, and we'll see how it goes. So scrap what I completely said about following the line of the engine on the badge line. That looked rubbish. By the time it got to the end of the bike, if you held a level to it, the exhausts were going to be really low. They were going to be almost towards axle height, and that wasn't really very good because they're going to be quite a long pipe. In the end, it would come way too low. Also, the clearance on the carb wasn't very good either. It was coming real close to the carb, so we didn't like that. So I've changed it again. So now we've got completely parallel top pipe and bottom pipe to match as well. So we've got a pretty good rough position set up now. So we've got all the clearance around the front fine. We've got a good parallel mix between the two. I still may lift this bottom pipe up 10-15 mil or so, just to give a bit more clearance on the carb area. But we've still got that finger gap we're looking for, and you can still access the choke cables and everything, and there's all clearance for the wiring. So it does work where it is, but I'm probably going to lift it up more. And also we've got that slight offset in the pipes as well. So that bottom pipe slightly comes out, gives better clearance issues, and I always think they look a little bit better as well. So from the front you can see we've got the lovely balanced angle bringing the pipes in. It makes the whole exhaust and the bike feel a lot more narrow, makes it a lot more sleeker in look as well. And then we've got the crossbar going across nice and level through the centre there, and there is obviously plenty of clearance. I've measured it with the shock length. So we're nice and happy with what we've got so far. I can't finish these now until I know exactly what I'm doing with the end can. I will order the stock for that and the material, and then get that finished, and then do the final weld and finish on the pipe as well, so do it in one section. So hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you like what I'm doing, and you can tell how long these things really do take to do. You know, it's not a matter of bashing them together. It can take 5 or 6 tries to get one bend right. I did actually do a bit of time lapse in this of me fitting this top exhaust, and it ended up being just a minute of me putting a pipe on, taking it off really quickly. So that was rubbish, so that's not going in the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, seeing what we've done. Any ideas, any suggestions, always appreciated. That'd be nice to see in a comment or a like, that'd be brilliant. Any further questions about anything else, please leave it in a comment and I'll answer them, and I'll see you next time.